Hey everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer, coming to you with information about November 2017. Okay, so let's see. There's a bunch of stuff going on. Weave them together. They kind of seem unrelated at first, but okay. So first thing is of course we know the Sun is in Scorpio until later in the month, but Venus is also going to move into Scorpio that'll be the 6th, 7th of November. Jupiter is already in Scorpio. That happened last month. We were talking about that in October. But so let's just say, it's concerning Venus and the Jupiter. Jupiter is actually Venus is the innermost planet, and then we can say that Jupiter is a higher octave of Venus, and then Neptune is an even higher octave of Venus and Jupiter, and expanding love outward. So when Jupiter's in Scorpio, it really represents the deep capacity for love, also for abundance. And I was talking a lot about that last month. So Venus, Venus only is in a sign for a month, so whereas Jupiter's doing it for a whole year. But the fact that Venus is joining in can really be great to meditate on your own value, self-value, self-love, if you're really walking your talk as far as loving yourself, caring for yourself. Also, one of the interesting parts of Scorpio is purging. Jupiter's a planet of abundance, and so is Venus. So it can be even more through the month of November about getting rid of what blocks you from having more. If it's just old stuff that doesn't represent you anymore, whether it's even seemingly insignificant things like clothes or, stuff, whatever, moving those kinds of things out of your life creates a vacuum that draws in what you do want, and that might be a new job, better health, greater spiritual awareness, more intuition, wonderful partnerships and things like that. So there's just generally releasing anything during this time is like, yes, I'm making room for more, of whatever is my highest good to bring in, so it's not like, oh, I let go of clothes, I got more clothes. It could be completely unrelated, but it's about just more of your higher potential and what's blocking that, what's in the way of that river flowing in. But Venus and Jupiter also is just wonderful, good times, and you can have new relationships, or even a long-term relationship can go to a deeper level. Good Venus works with Jupiter every year, but the fact that it's in Scorpio is once every 12 years, about really, really appreciating your partner, letting go of judgment, because that can be a negative part of Scorpio, and using that Scorpio to see deeper in and really appreciate the uniqueness of this person and the times you've gotten through things together can be a Scorpio theme, and to appreciate how you overall love each other and can strip away these other things that are bickering or, again, picking on or whatever it is. And so relationship can really flourish during that time. Again, it's fun to meet someone new and start a new relationship, but boy, your old relationship can seem really new during this time. So that's great. The other thing, I'm jumping around a little bit in my notes, but let's talk about Mercury in Sagittarius, because Sag is linked with Jupiter, and Mercury is your thinking process. And so to be thinking about abundance and thinking about lack of judgments, or how you judge, or how your judgments limit you, can be, because what I'm talking about with the Mercury in Sagittarius, which it's going into Sag, and again, usually Mercury just stays in the sign for a month, but we're going to have a Mercury retrograde in December. So it's going to go a little slower and then stop and go backwards. So we're going to be Mercury in Sag from November 6th through January 10th, okay? The retrograde is not going to happen until December, but we get into that pre-retrograde time. It's a little complicated to explain, but if you care to listen, I'll explain it. So Mercury goes retrograde at 29 degrees of Sagittarius, almost Capricorn, but it stops. And then it goes backwards through Sagittarius, and it goes back to 13 degrees of Sagittarius, stops, goes direct, and then, on through the zodiac. Well, what's interesting to look at is when is Mercury at 13 degrees of Sagittarius before it goes retrograde? And that is the 15th of November. So we get into this pre-retrograde time, and a lot of people think, oh, it's more confusing than the actual retrograde sometimes. But it's extra bonus time if you look at Mercury retrograde as, I want to delve more deeply into this issue, about how open-minded am I? I remember back in my 20s, I was talking to a friend, and he was mentioning something about someone being a jerk or something. And I said, I hate when people are intolerant. I said, everyone should be as tolerant as me. And I thought that we just laughed. It was so funny. But I think that's kind of the idea of Jupiter and Sagittarius. Like, be more tolerant, you jerk. And it's like, oh, wait, I being tolerant of their, free speech or free thinking or, and I'm not talking politics stuff here because I'm not getting into political things, but even in your own house, it's like, how is that even with a partnership or at work? And it's like, there's a funny part, even though Jupiter and Sagittarius are about this open-minded brotherhood, sisterhood, world family thing, there's another part of Sag that's like my way or the highway, and they think they're right, and they have the high moral ground, and it can really be jerky and stuff. So it's interesting for Mercury to go retrograde in Sag and say, where do I think I'm really open-minded and tolerant, but I'm actually, like I said to my friend, where am I completely intolerant of other people? And so that can also be back to that idea of walking your talk. Sagittarius and Jupiter itself can be very, armchair philosophy and not really doing it. If I were in that situation, I would do blah, blah, and then you're in that situation and you don't, you're not following your highest or whatever. So you kind of look at those sorts of things, ponder about that sort of stuff, where you could really live your dream. Where aren't you taking risks could be another theme of that Mercury going into Sagittarius. And dreaming bigger, and where do you stop that dream from coming in? So that kind of links with the Venus, Jupiter stuff in Scorpio, because Scorpio can be fear of becoming as big as you are, Marianne Williamson has that quote that gets wrongly attributed to Nelson Mandela that says, our greatest fear isn't that we're small, our greatest fear is that we're bigger than our wider imaginings. And that's kind of that idea of November, about looking at that and saying, what even small, consistent step could I take that leads me to that bigger way of being? If it's consistent thinking, if it's positive thinking consistently, if it's, anything, because that idea of Sagittarius to stay consistent with it, that arrow's going, because sometimes Sag, there, and no, wait, stay with the target, and even one particular choice done consistently can make like a big opening. So you eventually do get all over there, but not from randomness. So that could be something to look at, your own commitments to yourself. Do you keep them? Do you not? Why do you drop those commitments to yourself and don't think you can accomplish things and stuff like that? But definitely also watching how you can make, friends, enemies, or pick little fights with your partners, if it's a friend or family members, spouse, stuff like that. It's like, why are these obstacles? We're all in it together, So that can be the theme even for next month too. I might touch on that again in December. But like I said, no Mercury retrograde this month, but there is that time that starts on the 15th where you might, again, I'm saying that, do I really do that? How can I more consistently, that seems like a great idea to, think positive all the time. And it's like, well, let's try it. Let's maybe have a commitment with a friend to do it, and put your money where your mouth is and start kind of milking that Mercury retrograde, before it even gets there, because it's a lot about that inner vision. Okay. So speaking of tolerance, we've got Mars in Libra, which also thinks it's very fair, but Mars can be very edgy, like, do it the fair way, my way, and Mars is going to be squaring Pluto. We're talking about the octaves, like Venus being the, Venus, Jupiter, Neptune, the higher octaves of Venus. Well, Mars, Pluto's definitely a higher octave of Mars, about anger, about wanting my way, and so when they square each other, like they will around the 19th of November, we're getting into Thanksgiving-ish time, Just watching out for people, again, my way or the highway, because we've got, Libra, which is that secret warrior, the ninja, because Mars and Aries we think of as, but Libra is the opposite of Aries, but it is that secret ninja of, just quiet comments that start a little fire or whatever it is. And again, somewhat of self-righteousness there too. And then Capricorn itself, and Pluto in Capricorn is very, I know everything. So just, do I know everything? Or how important is it to let the other person, oh, that's fine, you can take care of that, or think that or do that or whatever. And you might look at how much energy you can drain from, I have to be right, and again, especially because it is relationship centered, because Mars is in Libra, it's like, what's really the point? Like, why do I need to correct that person? Or, so what, and seeing how these little thorns go in and make things not harmonious. Mars in Libra is really interesting, because Libra, you want harmony, but again, it's got that hidden fighter in it, and then Mars brings that out when Mars goes through Libra. So it's like, you might just watch, why do I want to correct them? Why do I want to put up a little problem here? And observing that, and forgiving people when they do that towards you. Say, and the way to do the Mars and Libra, say, I do that too, it's yourself, and just let it go. Especially when we're getting into the Thanksgiving stuff. It won't be there right at Thanksgiving, will it? When is Thanksgiving? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh dear, kind of is. Well, when the people come early for Thanksgiving, or your kids come home from school or whatever, or everyone's on vacation a few days before Thanksgiving. So allowing that to be an active observation for yourself. And let's see, in a similar theme, Neptune is turning direct, and that's going to be on the 22nd, so just a little after that Mars Pluto square. Neptune goes direct once a year, retrograde once a year, but Neptune's confusing and a little spacey and stuff. So either way, it's turning direction. It can be a little confusing, a little mini Mercury retrograde-ish, happening right at Thanksgiving. So, I don't know, someone forgot to turn the oven on and the turkey actually isn't cooking, or someone's late, or blah, 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 that sort of stuff. Allowing for goof-ups. But it's a wonderful time for finding compassion with each other. And I know this sounds dopey, but Thanksgiving is about gratitude, and really pondering gratitude during that Neptune going forward can give wonderful meditations, a real sense of feeling grateful and of feeling connected to others, and being able to, again, if you can get past that Mars-Pluto square and just put your ego aside and say, we all are here, we are all a family, or we're a human family, or whatever, being aware of others rushing to where they're going at such a busy time when people are traveling at Thanksgiving, and really letting your heart feel full, and practicing gratitude as much as you can. I was reading something about that Hawaiian prayer, Ho'oponopono, which is, I think I say it in the wrong order, but I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And someone was breaking down, writing about it. When they got to the I love you part, they talked about just saying I love you as a spiritual practice. And they said, saying I love you air, it's going into my lungs. I love you house, for protecting me from the elements. I love you reading glasses so I can read my ephemeris, my tiny print, and really focusing on that sense of being surrounded in love. And even when people are bickering at each other, it's like, I love my family, even though they are bickering right now or something. So that instead of being annoyed with the little things that can go wrong with Neptune direct, just kind of seeing the magic around all of the magic of the holidays. Okay, so then on a good note too, not that that was a bad note, we also have almost all month Saturn in Sagittarius trining Uranus and Aries. So those are both fire signs, and it's not, don't write me on my YouTube that I get the wrong numbers of there or whatever, but it's kind of been starting to track together throughout October and November. And by December, they're kind of separating a little more. So it's not like an exact trine right here, but it's like they're running fairly concurrently mathematically to do that trine. And what's great is that Uranus is new stuff and Saturn is old stuff. And when Saturn and Uranus work well together, it's like the breakthrough idea, the Uranus, that actually happens, that actually takes form. Saturn. So this thing about the the Mercury going retrograde, and this feeling gratitude and really walking your talk and all of that, with the Saturn Uranus trine throughout the month, it really says it's not just a concept, Uranus, it's happening. Or, I'm doing one simple thing consistently, Saturn, and I have this big opening in my mind and a revelation, or my life really shifts. So you get a lot out of doing a little, it's the consistency and the commitment to it, So that's also really nice with Uranus, Saturn, and almost like you can also kind of feel the lesson you're going through as you're going through it can be part of that. Not that it's like hard lessons, but you just kind of have a way of observing yourself going through things and going, oh, wow, I get what's going on. And yeah, instead of struggling. So that's an overarching piece throughout the whole month. Okay, so I will see you next month. And if you want a reading or even get to the gift certificate time, contact me, aluna@alunamichaels.com, or on my website, alunamichaels.com. My phone number, if you want to call or text, is 248-583-1663. I'll have that down below in the comments or my little description. And have a wonderful November, and I will see you in December, and bye-bye for now.